Hey, good evening, everyone. As this is playing Sunday evening, I hope you guys all had a great week, and I hope you're ready for another great week. Jarash here, and doing the 18 and 25, just a study on, and the topic for this week. We're gonna go through. It might be a two-part because I like going on rabbit trails, but we're gonna be talking about a couple things that I was really inspired. Man, I was blessed to hang out with the youth of our church, the teens, this last weekend, and so much fun. And it reminded me, why is 18 to 25 such a time when a lot of our friends are walking away from the church, and this weekend reminded me it is so much fun. When you're youth, when you don't have those worries, when you don't have those expectations, when it's just all fun, no responsibility. Loving the Lord is easy. Not a lot of hurts yet, not a lot of heartbreaks, and it just seems so much easier then. Even though they struggle with the same emotions, right? And I know for myself, I struggle with the emotions of self-worth, confidence, depression, thoughts of suicide, just really hard times, and those who don't know much about my past, it was a rough one. But that doesn't define me, and I think I love that. I think this the topic today is basically going off of fellowship, but based on that, I wanted to kind of present a couple questions. I did this for the youth, and I was really inspired to do it also for the young adults because, guys, we are called out people, right? So we are called to go out and to serve, and I wanted to make sure that where are we calling them? Is the question, right? And so the question that I proposed to the youth, I'm going to propose it to you guys, and I'd like you guys to take a second to even think about it. But it's basically what do you desire to be known for? There's two questions to this. One is, what do you desire to be known for? What do you want to be known for in a conversation? What do you want to be known for when you meet someone for the first time and you interact with them and you've never met them before? Let's say someone introduced you and now you have 3 minutes to introduce yourself. We've all been there, and now you have to leave this impression. What do you want to be known for? What do you want that interaction to say about you? Do you want it to say you're selfish? Do you want it to say that you're a little bit about yourself and less about other people? Do you want it to be more about your job? Do you want it to be more about the accomplishments that you've had? What do you want to be known for? What do you desire to be known for? Is it something you've even thought about? I know when I was talking to them, it's something that we've talked about. It's probably not even something that we've talked about before or thought about before we walked in a situation. Hey, we didn't walk in that situation to get to know a random person and have to describe ourselves to them. We didn't walk into this with the expectation of having to, now give a 3-minute short preview of who I am as a person. Hey, why do I have to prove myself as a person, right? Is that a question you have while you're thinking about this? As I share this, and we think about how unfair is that? Let me ask you this then. What do you want the church to be known for? Today, tomorrow, next month? What do you want it to be known for? The sad thing is there's a lot of misconceptions about the church. There's a lot of things that, and we're not all responsible for, but individually we absolutely are. So remember that. Because we may not be deciding what we want to be known for. We may not know that we care. But what's crazy is we know what the church is like. We know what the body of Christ is, right? We're blessed to be a part of the church. It is so great. So many amazing people. So many people have welcomed me and my wife. So much opportunity to have experience of basically acceptance. We didn't know anyone, and we were welcomed in, and I'm grateful for that. And now, a little over a year later, we're blessed to be running an 18 to 25 ministry. when we were asked to do this, it's definitely God, because they didn't know how big our heart was for this group, this age group of where it played a huge role in my life, to where I was impacted at this time of my life from an outsider of my life, but an insider of the church. And it took that insider of the church to reach me for who they were and welcome me into their home. They impacted me extremely. And I'm gonna kind of continue on with this first with a verse that stuck out about this topic that we're talking about. It's 1 Peter 3:15. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. And meekness being, the withheld or restraint of strength. The ability to break, but the restraint. It's saying, I am strong in my foundation, but I will restrain it, and when asked, I'm ready to give an account. And I think often we're not prepared or rooted in that, to where we feel like we have to be. But this is the thing, as we were talking this weekend, it was crazy, because we were talking about, you may not have asked to be judged, but it also talks about in James that you will be judged. I think it's James 3:1. Be careful, my brothers and sisters, not many of you should become teachers, for those who become teachers of the church will be judged more strictly. As we are, a teacher to them, mostly known as the only Christ, that they may ever encounter, be offered an opportunity to go to church. And the thing is often we're not strong, we're not confident in inviting people, and the question is first, why is that? Could it be our view of the church already, or that or the view of the church and others, that we understand and know that other people aren't viewing the church as the way that we experience the church? And I know that, for us, it's, you may have been going to Maranatha for a short time. You may have been going to Maranatha for a long time. You may be listening to this, and Maranatha isn't your home church, and that's okay. The goal is here is it's not the fact of what church it is. It's the fact of, are you rooted in the truth? And I think a lot of churches, unfortunately, right now, have a bad rep about them. And that's what we need to break. You know why? Because we need to take accountability of what we want and desire to be known for. Because every single time, something that we were talking about, every single time you walk out of a room, do you know that they're talking about you? Do you know that when you walk out of the room of talking about the person or meeting the person, you had 3 minutes to describe who you are as a person? You weren't prepared for that, maybe. And at the end of the day, they may have walked out there talking about you. When you left the room, they were talking about you. Your friends that you're trying to invite in church, your coworkers, that they're watching more of how you act versus what you say. I know that's true for me. As someone who came to Christ later on in life and was not fully raised up in it, I very much watched how people walked and how they interacted with others versus what they asked or told me. I want to give you guys a little example. I want to describe a definition. I want you guys to think about and say out loud, is this the definition of the church that you experience? Is this why you attend the church? So let me know if this is resembles anything, this statement resembles anything like what you experience as a church, okay? Blank can provide youths, so the church can provide youths with a sense of belonging and identity, social support, and solidarity. The church youths often compare their church to family, and in some respects, church resemble families. Does that sound like the definition of a church to you? Does that sound like something that you would explain the culture of a church to someone? Is that something that you would go and say, hey, you know what? I want you to come because church is my family. Okay? So, if that was yes to you, awesome. I wish that was so. And I wish that this definition of that I looked up. And when I looked it up, I was actually shocked. And what I looked up is basically gangs. What I looked up is, what is the culture of a gang? Because often what we're doing is we're looking outside at other people and we're saying, why are you following that direction that leads to chaos and pain and hurt and drugs and violence? Why would you follow that? You know what's crazy is the culture that they describe as a gang. The reason they followed is even knowing all that, when they were beat up and initiated into a gang, what they described as a gang, gangs can provide youth with a sense of belonging and identity, social support, and solidarity. Gangs, youth often compare their gangs to family, and in some respects, gangs resemble families. So that's me rereading is actually, all what I did is I took out gangs and I put it in church, because you know what embarrassed me? Is that gangs were more resembled to the culture that I wanted to see in our church. Correction. This definition is more of what I experience in church. And I know you guys attend the same church as I do. And those of you who don't, I know a church family because I've been to multiple churches, and I know the culture inside those churches are not what this is describing. Though that's the experience that I've had. This is why I continue to go into church, even when I didn't know the Bible, even though I didn't know the scriptures. The reason why I continued going back to church is because I felt like it was just an extended family, even though I didn't know it. But you know what, people nowadays, the problem is right now, the description of a church is unfortunately not that. I'm going to actually give you, I also looked up this, I Googled up a couple different descriptions that people would describe the church as today. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I think that it's good for us to be aware, because the questions that I propose is, what do you desire to be known for? And the second is, what do you want the church to be known for? It's hard. It's up to us to take ownership of this, and it's up to us to be aware of what are people's perspectives and perceptions of the church, because we're here having a perception of them, and why would they turn to another lifestyle instead of going towards what we've experienced as love, acceptance, grace, mercy, salvation? We may know these things, but what we need to do is, I'm talking about fellowship, I'm talking about inviting people, and I'm talking about today, we need to create a culture that is of Christ. And right now, we first need to identify is, what are other people describing the church as? What are either other people's perspectives of what the church is? And I'm going to tell you. The first one, a place. It's a place. Walls, buildings, lights, utility. Church came to be seen as somewhere Christians go on Sundays, as Americans have become more reluctant to accept personal accountability and responsibility. It's not their home. It's a place. A place do you go to? Number two, it's an event. Church evolved into a weekly production as Americans sought greater convenience and developed shorter attention spans. But as we talked the other day, youth may have issues with Fortnite and whatever games they play. But guess what? As adults, what do we have issues with? Social media, games also, addictions, TV, Netflix. I mean, dude, some of us, did we really grow up? Or are we really still trying to have this attention span where we can spend hours and hours a day? But yet as we talk about this event, let's make sure it's a short event. How long is a church service, right? 30 minutes, 45 minutes? How long is the singing? How long do I got to stand? Okay. And we kind of measure it up. And these are people's perspective of the church. Because I don't know, maybe it's the way that we talk about it and we don't understand. So the perception of others we need to be aware of as we dive in, because what is the goal that we see? I mean, our goal is to create a culture, a fellowship, right? What is fellowship? All right, we're going to dive into this more. So number three, an institution. So churches increasingly became structured as a legal entity operating in expensive and underutilized buildings as our nation became progressively more corporate and litigious. I don't know that word. I apologize. Where's the screen? What is that word? Hey, where'd he go? Anyways, litigious. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Rabbit trail. I was trying to figure that out. Hope you guys can help. If you saw it on there, let me know. What else has it been known for? Number 4, a social club. Have you guys felt like it's a social club? You know, where we just kind of go, you know, it's turned into a fellowship without obligation, free to come and go as we please, as loyalty and commitment have declined in our country. Awesome. Number 5, a business. Nickels and noses have grown more prevalent measures of success in churches as money and metrics have taken center stage in our consumer and bottom line culture. Number 6, a hospital for sinners, for the unchurched. Attending a weekend service became a last resort for those in crisis only when Americans' endless search for fulfillment and happiness elsewhere eventually met dead ends at every turn. A hospital. Number 7, easy. Church began allowing congregants to abdicate evangelism and the professionals as consumer came to expect excellent customer service or take their business elsewhere. Mentality. It's got to be easy, guys. 8, quick. Worship services grew shorter and Sunday schools disappeared as our schedules got busier, leaving less time for church between work and social and kids activities. Number 9, scripted. Sermons, because we don't want to offend people, churches now have had scripted sermons. Songs and segues became more carefully choreographed as Americans grew accustomed to a high degree of professionalism and entertainment valued at any event they attend. Number 10, segregated. Collaboration among churches across denominations has decreased in diversity and has suffered as divisiveness has increased between those on different sides of the racial, demographic, and political aisles. Why is that? Why are these the things that a church is known for? Guys, I wanted to bring this to you because as I spoke to the youth this weekend, we are this generation. We are the young adults. We are the 18-25 trying to find ourselves, but we already have found our identity in Christ, and we need to remind ourselves of that. And I ask you guys again, what do you desire to be known for? What do you want our church to be known for? Because our church is going to be made up of the 3-minute interaction with you, with me. And so as we're going out here and we're talking to people, the church is known for the people who take up the identity of Christ. And we claim it with our words, but not our intention of our actions. And I wanted you guys to know this because, you know, the interactions that I've had with everyone, you know, that I know that's listening to this, and for those of you who you know, who haven't actually met me and who are listening to this, I want to encourage you guys. I want to call us, if you follow Christ, if you know Christ, if you've received Christ in your heart, I want us to know that we have a calling, not just as a church, but as a church body, not as a building, but as a church body of Christ. As we individually take the authority of the Bible as our ultimate authority in life, as we take the sacrifice, the death, the resurrection of Christ as our identity and through that our salvation. As we are in this together, as you follow doctrine and Bible, are you guys living it? Because it's great to believe that. It's great to, now that we've got that established so far, now that we're on that same page with that, let's move forward from that and let's talk about, are we living it? Because unfortunately we can talk about, well, I've invited my brother, I've invited my sister, I've invited my parents, I've invited my friends, I've invited my aunt, my cousins, my friends, my coworkers, my next door neighbors. We've invited these people, but how do we live for these people? We have the responsibility to live for Christ. We have the mercy, the grace, the opportunity to live for Christ. So what do we want to be known for? Do you think that we chose to be known for selfishness? Do you think that we choose to live with our pride? thinking that someone thinks that I take my identity as my job, my income, my vehicle, man, that would break my heart. Because my identity is found in Christ. But am I intentional with showing others that? Are you guys? You know, I wanted to talk about the topic of fellowship because I love you guys. We miss you guys. You know, we haven't been able to see you guys in quite a while. And like I said, we're starting to have dinners this next week come up. And we're going through and getting to see some of you guys. You know, if you haven't got the phone call, be ready for it. We love to know when you guys are available for that. We're definitely doing our best, you know, even with, you know, unfortunately with this pandemic, we have been extremely busy, very fortunate, very blessed for that. But with that, we're also going to be intentional because we want to see you guys. So we're going to reach out, we're going to have these dinners, we're going to get together, and we want to be known for love. We want to be known, not love is love, but God's love. We want to be known for what the church is for. What the church is supposed to be is under the authority of Christ, under the authority of His Word, His doctrine, His Bible. Not our opinions, not our pride, not our segregation, not our business, not our, you know, our attempts to try to put out as this is what a church is for. Not our description and describing it to someone. And that's, we need to take responsibility of intention of why is this known for the church? And I want to encourage you guys as we go through this pandemic, you and I are going to have opportunities to bring people to Christ. You and I are going to have opportunities to show people Christ and allow Christ to use us as the opportunities he does to provide salvations, to change people's hearts, to soften them. Guys, we have the opportunity to mirror Christ. Is that what we want to be known for? Because if it is that what we're choosing to be known for? Because I don't like the church is known for this right now. Why is the church not a welcoming mat to all? Or is it? It takes us to know and to show it. So is the church a welcoming mat to everyone? Color, race, you know, religion, sexuality. Guys, this does not mean we compromise what the Bible and authority is. This means that we love people. Because the church, if the church isn't if the church isn't meant for the messed up, what is? It doesn't mean that we're approving it. It means that we've got to remember that our intention is to love first. And Christ will show His love through. So how are we loving people? Are we judging if they don't line up with our personalities, activities, topics of conversation? You know, right now, how hard is it? You know, with the topics of masks, with the movements of the BLM, with the movements of masks on, masks off, COVID. How about the political? How are your conversations going with politics? I know many of you maybe not like, you know, many people might, you know, maybe not many of you, but many people might not like my decisions on politics or you know, or my topics, you know, that I like, because a lot of you here, I like diving into serious topics. I like diving into you know, how's your heart issues? And I love getting to know people past the surface. And I want to, you know, and it's not our responsibility to judge people going in. Are we judging people based on what they look like, on their outer? You know that they were created in the image of Christ? You know that they were made perfect? That it's not our responsibility to judge and criticize? Man, I'm excited to love on people again. I'm excited to be able to go out and talk to people. Whether I got my mask up and, you know, let them know I'm still smiling with my eyes. You know, I'm sick of this mask. You know, you guys can judge me for it. That's fine. I'm sick of wearing a mask. But if it takes wearing a mask to love on someone, put a mask on me. I don't have to be forced to, but you know what? I am definitely going to point to Christ first before I fight for a mask. Will I rebel silently and publicly? Sure. You guys can judge me for that, but you know what? I'm not going to judge others for their opinions on it, because I completely understand the safety and security where people have to feel that, where we are looking for this and we're more in fear of things that are going on and things that we can't see. I get that, but I want us to believe in things we can't see also. I want to look at this. When I talked about yesterday or this last weekend about these gangs. I wasn't in an official gang, but I was in a group of people who we felt like a gang. I mean, we were abandoned by the world, by our parents, by society. Ultimately, I was off on my own since 15, 16. Sure, I lived with adults at some points, but ultimately I was responsible for my own direction in life. I didn't get grounded or curfew or anything like that. I couch surfed for a while, and I lined up with a lot of people that were like me. I called them the lone wolves. We were lost boys, and we had an amazing relationship, and we still do. Those are some of my best friends still. And what was crazy is why did I feel more comfortable and secure in that for the longest time? They had my back. They didn't judge me for not having shoes to wear. They didn't judge me for the clothes I didn't have. My buddy Brandon, my boy, he gave me clothes like crazy. I don't know if he ever knew how much it meant to me. I don't know if he ever fully knew that I didn't have clothes. I remember when we went off to boot camp, he gave me so many clothes, and those are the nicest clothes I had for over a year. You guys know what it's like for someone to not have nice things? To come to a place where we're told that it's supposed to be love, acceptance, mercy, and to feel like everyone's wearing the nicest pair of clothes, and I can't come back here. I'm not accepted. This isn't welcome for me. You know what would show that? It's not saying go get, worse clothes. It's saying, guys, are our eyes, right now with our mask covered, guess what? You know what people are focusing on? Where are our eyes going? How are our eyes judging? Are we welcoming people? Are we making it feel like they've got to get beat up just to get, hugged and embraced? I mean, are we going to stoop to the way of a gang that we have to beat people up with their eyes or verbally in order to allow them to then, after we do that and they come back and then we love on them? Guys, we are not going to stoop to that. But I want you to know that people in that hurt are more likely to go get beat up one time physically when they expect it, and they know that they can count on to get loved after. They can be family welcomed in, never given up, never dropped, cared for, fed for, defended for. Guys, you know how shameful it is that is something that someone can go to and get. Let's read this verse then. Acts 4:32. And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things common. They shared all things, guys. They believed. They were of one heart, of one soul. Guys, these guys in the earlier church of Acts, that's what a church is supposed to sound like. But today's society, a gang sounds more like that, and a church sounds more like a performance. Guys, we know that's not real, but why are people saying that? Are we gonna rise up and take accountability for how other people view us, how other people are viewing the church? Are we gonna take accountability when we walk out of the 3-minute conversation? Are we gonna take accountability of how we love them? Or are we going to be held responsible for where our eyes went and how our eyes judged and looked away and we couldn't face and we couldn't accept? Guys, we're not the ones that have to be responsible for the judging. We're the ones that have to be accountable for our actions. And are we going to be intentional with our actions to love people first? Guys, I have the best relationships these days because I believe the best in people. But why is that? Why is it that I can go and love someone like crazy? I'm sure it's the same reason why you guys want to. Because you were accepted and loved regardless of what you earned. You know, we've have grace and salvation regardless of what we've done to deserve it. Because I've done nothing to deserve it. And I am so grateful that I was someone like me, as lost and broken and poor and abused and beaten and used, that I was accepted in to the fellowship. And when I see others, I don't want them ever thinking or second guessing that they're not welcomed. Guys, we need to be that church. We need to be accountable. We should desire to be known for that. We should be desire for the church to be known for that. That should be our battle cry. There should be no reason that we accept any less. Guys, this is the culture that the youth are creating. This is the culture that we should be creating. As followers of Christ, it's not an age, it's an identity. And if we take the identity in Jesus Christ, this should be our identity. You know, next week we're going to go over with more, because I was so inspired by this weekend of what God was revealing, that I want to call us to be known for this. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. How do we do this, guys? How do we go out and we love? Because the world is trying to say that love is love. Love is whoever you choose to love, regardless of what others think. That's partial true. But let me give you the description, because love is detailed, descriptive, and intentional. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemingly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Guys, these are things that if you want to know how to love, write this down as a list and go and show it. Because you've experienced this now. If you've received Christ in your heart, you've been loved this way by our Heavenly Father. You've been forgiven this way. You've not been held for account of any wrongdoings or right doings. You know, we want to seriously sit here and take an account of, well, why would I not be able to keep record of right? Why can't I just ignore the wrongs? Why can't I, I want to keep record of right. You know, it's good to give out in people and applaud them for things. But you know what I've struggled with in my life? Is taking compliments. And guys, it's great to take a compliment. But you know what really stinks is when you can't accept a compliment. And I was unfortunately not able for a while to accept a compliment. And you know what I did? I stole the joy that it is to give a gift. You know, and I use it as an example. You know, if this was your birthday party, or sorry, you went to a birthday party and already you're like, man, I don't have anything to give. I don't have money. I don't know if I can afford this to give this gift. Man, this person has it all. Like, I don't know what I can give. And you go and you give them a gift. And the person looks at it. Thanks. And moves on. And it broke my heart that I did that to people. It broke my heart that I thought that I was too good for a compliment. And it wasn't that, but that's what I portrayed. Because I struggle with receiving compliments. I struggle with receiving gifts. And don't fool yourself. A compliment is a gift. And sometimes, I know from experience, it's the only gift I could give for a while, and I loved giving them. But what really hurts is when people don't accept it. So don't steal that from people. It's a hard issue. Not only give it, but accept them. Guys, you guys need to accept compliments. And you know what is wrong about only keeping track of right? Is most people, when they say, Oh yeah, you did this right, and they say nothing. Oh, you did that right, they say nothing. But the second you do something wrong, they're gonna go in the account of how many things you did right, but discount them because of what you did wrong. And that's what it's saying, is don't do that. And don't rejoice with your own, when you're right. Rejoice with the truth. The truth is the scriptures. And guys, if we're going through this and we're loving people like this, man, no one loves like this anymore. Only Christ loves like this. So what we need to do is we need to do this. And the reason why I'm going through this is, guys, we need to build a culture. Because it's already in here in the scriptures of what culture we should have. But guys, I want nothing but our 18 to 25 to exemplify this. And I know we can, because I know individually you guys, and I know that we haven't been in together for a long time. But guys, I want to make sure that as followers of Christ, this is the example that we leave. This is what people see. When we invite people to church, this is what they're seeing. And it's not going to be confused with anything else, but next week I'm going to dive into more of this. But this is the culture that we need to continue to build. And you know where it starts? It starts in our heart. It starts with taking accountability of where our heart is. Do we need healing? Are we hurting still? Are we still selfish about things that we're insecure about? Are we trying to claim things as ours and not share them? Are we trying to have cliques and segregate? Guys, I will not let our church be known for this. And if Maranatha is not your home church and you have another one, you should not let your church be known for this. Because if your church is teaching the truth in the Bible, the only person to take accountability of this misconception. Oh, phone. This guy. It's you. And I know that may be convicting. It was for me when people didn't want to come to church because of that. But guys, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this topic. I'm excited about going through this. I'm excited what God's revealed, because I think through this pandemic, through this COVID, we need to remember that the only thing worse in safety of our health is God forbid we do pass away. When we do pass away, we will go somewhere for eternity. And did we have an opportunity to exemplify Christ and show who Christ truly is? Or did we live for ourselves in our own image and only allow people to see what we wanted them to see, and not see who lives inside of us and put a guard up in a wall to protect us? Guys, if this is the way that you desire to be known for, if this is the way that you desire the church to be known for, it's time to be a called out people. So, that was what I had for today. I'll talk more about next week. I apologize it got so long. But guys, I think it's a huge topic, and I'm excited to share it with you. I'm excited for what it's going to do, and I'm excited to see you guys again. Please, if you guys watch this, text me 602-740-5659. Even if you guys weren't in our group before, even if this is the first time watching one of our videos, this is the first time watching it with someone, text me 602-740-5659, Jarash. And I love to get in contact with you guys, and I love to continue on getting to know you and talking and loving on you. So love you guys so much. Praying for you guys. Please let me know if there's any prayer requests you guys have. I'd love to pray. And Josh and I and my beautiful wife Julia are working on another series coming up here that we're going to start in conjunction with, I think I'm still going to continue on that continued series. And so you guys can have other stuff to go through the week. But we're going to be continuing on going through these recordings and stuff. And super excited until this masks are off. And either way, we find a way to move forward in fellowship and community. But until then, communicate with me, you guys. I'd love to hear from you. Ask questions and be the light. Be Christ-like. All right? So, love you guys. Talk to you here soon.